Hey YouTube, how you doing?
Hey bike farmers, thanks for clicking in. I have a customer's bike here. I'm not sure it's worth it. So we're gonna play another game of Is It Worth It? This is late 80s Giant Nutra. It's an entry-level giant hybrid. There is absolutely nothing fancy about this bike. There's also absolutely nothing wrong with this bike. It appears that at some point the shifters have been replaced. I think it has Shimano 100 GS levers and derailleurs, and that's I guess it was a little bit better than Tourney, but it's like the super entry level stuff. It works pretty good. Now, I'm guessing that those old 100 GS shifters got all gummy, and instead of being flushed out and cleaned and reused, which I've tried to do on them, and sometimes it works, a lot of times it doesn't, or it'll work temporarily or something like that. Somebody might have just gotten fed up with it and then just replaced the shifters. So these shifters are actually pretty nice, which makes it a little bit better. I told the customer, you know, if they really love the bike and just want to keep it, then it's worth it, but it needs tires and tubes, and that adds up pretty quick. Tires are 35 bucks a piece, tubes are 9 bucks a piece, so we're already at $90 in parts just with the tires and tubes. It also needs brake pads. They're all hard and cracked and crusty, so we're at like 110 in parts. And then labor on this bike, just for a standard tune-up, is about 100 bucks. So we're over 200 bucks on this bike. And frankly, like all tuned up and cleaned up and everything and ready for sale, I would put 250 on this bike and it wouldn't sell very fast. He's right on the edge. And if it were me, I would just take the option. You know, I mean, it's new bike day for me. If this is my decision to make, I'd be like, you know what? You know, I told him I'd give him 40 bucks trade on it, go buy a used bike for 350 bucks and be on with my life. But he didn't. He took the option to fix this one. He thought spending $200 was better, and maybe he's right. And I think we can all develop our own opinion on this. I wouldn't have done it, but he wanted to. So let's see what kind of trouble I get into. I think it's gonna go pretty straightforward. Famous last words. Why don't you kick back, relax, let's get started and find out. So per the usual, I'm just gonna pop the wheels off. We'll set them aside. I think I'll go right ahead and do the tires. All right, I'm all set up here on Woody Charleston. So I've gone off on reusing tubes. You know, my used bikes, I just reuse them. It's never really a problem to reuse tubes, in my opinion. Maybe it could be. Sometimes I feel like they wear out. I don't know. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's generally how I go. But when I talk to my customers, I always ask them, do you want new tubes too? And I say, there's probably nothing wrong with what you got, but you're replacing the tires, and they're always like, yes, just do it. So it seems to be what people want. So this one has been holding air since I took the bike in a number of days ago. So there's nothing wrong with this tube. It still holds air. So I'm gonna sling it over in my used tube pile. Ooh, this front hub feels absolutely horrendous. I think I might do them a solid and throw some lube in there and adjust that. Not worth totally overhauling it at all. I'm gonna check it for true real quick. It's fine. I have the tire tread, kind of has an arrow shape to it. I always have that pointing forward, and this is the skewer which goes on the left side of the bike. And then I line the valve hole up with the label. And these giant PX2 tires are smart. The label says the size of the tire and recommended tire pressures, so I don't have to go on a hunt or nobody does. And if you just set it up right by the valve, then all the information you ever need is right there. And we don't have to guess, get things wrong, look stupid in front of our friends and family, or the guy at the bike shop, even worse. Oof. Don't want to look dumb there. I just give the tube a little bit of shape when I put it in. Kind of helps things, keeps things from getting folded, crimped and pinched. This is my Efficient Velo Tools inflator, which I absolutely love. Really makes the job easier in many ways, and it's accurate, and it's pretty expensive. I have links in the description. You can get one for yourself. And if you're doing a lot of this and you want good stuff, go get one. I think that is seated properly, but maybe not. Some tires need more massaging than others. You know, you can bring it up to pressure, take some pressure out, do a little massaging. Different tires and rim combos have different relationships, you know? That looks pretty good. Now this one, I didn't put air in it before, but it's kind of flat. I'm just gonna throw it away. Ow. For those of you wondering, the tire pressure, I make them firm, but it's 80 PSI. It's a lot. We've got a 13 millimeter here. Nope. There we go. There's a 13 millimeter. We loosen, this is a cone wrench, and it holds we put it on the flats of the cone, and that holds in that side. And you back off the lock nut. I think this is the first time in my life that I'm doing this, leaving the skewer on, but it's actually gonna kind of hold things in place. So maybe I'm onto something here. So this is where I wish I had the right tools. My grease gun never seems to work. Nope. I mean, look at that. It's got grease in it. Oh! Now it's working. There we go. Get some grease in there. All right, I just go nuts. We'll flip it over. We'll get some grease in there. Oh, there we go. Oh, my grease gun's working. It's probably not a grease gun though. That's a grease squirter. This lock nut is giving me some troubles over here. All right. Oh my God, that feels so much better. Okay. So to set the preload on these hubs, the adjustment is I got everything finger tight right now. And then I put my cone wrench on and the lock nut and I tighten it down. And then this is the side I haven't touched yet. But just to make sure that it's tight, we'll do that. And what that does is it backs the cone out just like a quarter turn, which sets just a little bit of play in the axle. And so and you want it just so it's like just slightly loose. And then when you activate the cam lever of your quick release, it squishes the whole system together a fraction of a millimeter and sets that preload just exactly perfect. This one actually feels a smidge tight, so I'm going to put a 13 millimeter on either side and just kind of give it a small little nudge in the right direction. Ooh, that's perfect. Kind of cheated a little bit, but that's really good. Well, I don't know. Shall we? Since we're doing it, hit the rear one too. I'm gonna just squirt some in the non-drive side. It's a pain in the butt to get at the drive side. But unless I wanted to take everything apart and replace that spoke protector. But I don't think I do want to. It's not super brittle yet. Man, do people hate those things. I just had no idea until I started the channel and started replacing spoke protectors how much people hate dork discs. And they just don't like how they get yellow. Like, it's the end of the world. It's so nuts. I just don't understand the hatred for it. Bike culture is super weird. All you guys that are into bikes, super weird. Just weird, obnoxious, annoying people. I think all those motorists that hate cyclists are right. Just kidding. Come on, relax, people. Come on. We're just having fun here. I do hate the big, loud pickup trucks. So if you are watching this and have a big, loud pickup truck, I think I hate you. Hate with a capital H. That's what brings the world together. All right. I respect your right to own such a thing. I do not respect your right to own such a thing and not be called an asshole. Because that's actually not a right that you have. You can own it, and I can judge you for it. That's freedom. Okay, we are up here in the twooing stand. Got some Dawn power wash here. I don't watch TV with commercials ever. Like, I'm not a sports fan, so I'm not exposed to that stuff. And I just, have a subscription to anything I want to watch, or I'll just download a video, rent one for $4 and watch it, or a movie. I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm a premium subscriber to YouTube because I hate advertisements. I hate that. I just hate it. But my wife is an author, and she's got a book idea, and it's like, for whatever reason, it's about trucking in the 70s. So we've been on this kick where we've been watching old trucker movies. So I watched Smokey and the Bandit and Convoy. Anyway, we rented Convoy, or we didn't rent Convoy, we found it. And it was on like Tubi or one of the TV subscriptions for poor people. And we figured out why, and it's because there's commercials every 10 or 15 minutes. and they're terrible, right? And I mean, I guess that's how it goes now, is if you're too poor to afford subscriptions, you get to watch the commercials, right? I guess that's kind of how it's always been over the air or whatever. Anyway, commercial comes on for Dawn Power Wash. And first of all, I was like, I wonder how much it costs the Procter & Gamble, to run that advertisement, and do they realize how much cheaper it would be to just pay the bike farmer for such things? But I sell a lot of, I've seen my Amazon affiliate stats, and I sell a lot of this stuff. But anyway, watching the commercial, and it's all about doing the dishes. And I'm like, this is horseshit. That's a miracle substance. And I think something was said, I wasn't paying attention really, but something was said about how absolutely greasy the pan was, and like it was like 3x cutting power or something, just how amazing they were at the degreasing capabilities of Dawn Power Wash. And I'm watching it and I'm like, no shit, I know this. And I'm like, they should be showing guys like me fixing bikes or, degreasing car parts or fixing the lawnmower, whatever, like that kind of stuff. And it's a whole market. I mean, the marketers, it's just a gold mine. Speaking of landmines, you should see my yard right now. Finally, at the end, they're like, hey, it's a really good cleaner for all kinds of other things too. And then they had like a shirt or something, and they were getting a stain out of some sort, And I was like, okay, so they do know. They're just not making, ads for it. This bike isn't real greasy. This bike is really dusty. We have the Glacial Drumlin bike trail right on the edge of town. And that's where a lot of people ride these hybrids. And it's crushed limestone. It's a really fine powder that gets on everything and everywhere. And that's primarily what's plaguing this bike. So usually if it's just straight up Glacial Drumlin dust, I just use the, behold, it's a bike cleaner too. Sell a ton of that stuff too. And that is Ball, not Procter & Gamble. So that's like another contract. I gotta get my lawyers to deal with their lawyers. Just kidding. I'm not that important. Not that important yet. But y'all are gonna get me there. Okay, back here on the bike, we're gonna pull the derailleur out like that, or in, or however you wanna think about that little maneuver. And then, okay, we're gonna push this brake in, create a little bit of slack there, get that cable loose. I'm just popping the housing out of its happy homes. You can reach, pull on that front derailleur, pull it out, creates a little bit of slack, and you can get the front derailleur cable out. You take your little bottle of Tri-Flow here. Get a little bit of access to the cables and the housing. It's a big part of the tune-up. This gets everything really snappy and moving freely. Slicker than snot on a doorknob, as we like to say. And the front one is a little different story. You always have to use gravity for it. This one really is a tight one. The rear derailleur cable here. It's a long piece of housing. Okay, I try to lube the cable underneath, the cable guides underneath the bottom bracket. All right, brake cable here. This one's always an important one to get that brake feeling nice and snappy. Yeah, all these cables are dry as a bone. Huge improvements are made doing this here. Okay, and then with all the cables not in their happy homes, makes it a lot easier to clean the frame. Like I said, this bike is mostly just dusty. The Behold is actually quite a good cleaner too. I find that it'll take a smudge off here and there. So a lot of times it's absolutely sufficient to doing the whole thing. I use it primarily to prove to the world on this channel that I am an absolute hack mechanic, because I spray it all over the brake pads and the rims and everything. Generates lots and lots of comments. Love you guys in the comments. It's not a big deal if you get it on the surface of your brake pads or rims. Not a big deal at all. I always enjoy watching things take shape again here. Get it looking like a bicycle again. Get after these brake pads here. I'll show you on this side because you can see it, how it all works. But there's a 5mm that you can kind of hold the posty holder thingy, and then it's a 10mm behind it. It certainly helps to have a little bit of lube on things. I got a new pad here, and these are tricky. So on some of these systems, the easiest way I know how is to just like tighten everything up, like with the barrel adjuster, and then let it out. What I mean by that is I can turn this barrel adjuster out a whole bunch. Okay, that's gonna tighten the rear brake cable. Okay, so now with the cable tight, I can take my pad and line it flush to the rim, hold it with one hand, and tighten it down with another. Okay, and then the wrench will hold that steady in space. Okay, I'll do my best here to keep this camera angle for you. I'll loosen that guy. So, these are lower profile pads than the ones I took off. So my plan isn't flawless here. Okay, I'm gonna have to move this pad in and then make some adjustments with the brake spring tension. One thing I've read in the comments that I totally understand is how people struggle with cantilever brake adjustments. So I'm feeling underneath to make sure that that pad is kind of following the contour of the rim. I have just barely enough where everything's grabbing hold here. But that pad, I don't know if you can really see, but it's kind of like maxed out as to how, you know, long the post is. Okay. And I'm doing that because with this particular style of hanger, the adjustment it's like calculus. I mean, it's not though, it's trigonometry. It's like next level geometry. I don't understand it. I don't understand the design. I don't like it. Okay, so that pad is really good. This one's gonna go in just a smidge, I think. Now you would think I'd want to put this pad in, but I can demonstrate. There's an adjuster spring here. I can crank up the tension on this side. So that's all the way. Yeah, you can see it's just, is the wheel in straight? Wheel's in straight. I guess we will have to go trigonometry on this thing. I can't explain what I think is gonna happen here. Like I said, I really don't understand this particular design or what's going on. Oh, I know what I can do. Back up. Let's keep that right there. I know some of you are thinking it and screaming at the TV, screaming at your screens right now. Back here, let's just do one of these numbers. This is a 4th hand tool, not a 3rd hand tool like I said in another video, and was corrected. And I'm fine with that because I was wrong. BT2 to the rescue. Woohoo! Winning. Okay, I'm turning my barrel adjuster on the lever back in. Why does that wheel look like it's in crooked? So, grab it, I'm gonna wiggle it a whole lot. I'm lifting straight up into the frame. And it is seated in its dropouts. And I can look down here and it's relatively, yeah, everything's shifted to the right a little bit, and that's just, the frame isn't completely aligned, and that's really not a big deal on this bike. If it was a steel racing bike of my own, I'd do something about it, but I'm leaving it. Okay, so back here, and we look at it, things look pretty good. These are some of the hardest brakes on the planet to set up, and that's actually really quite good. So I'm gonna leave it. I could futz with it some more and maybe make a tiny improvement, but so much better than it was. Oh, something that I didn't do, this might screw the whole thing up, is we're gonna drop some tri-flow back here, work it down into those posts. That is frictionless. All right, I'm gonna just kind of lube this up before I start the procedure. I guess something I can talk about, which is kind of fun, and I got a Facebook memory about it from exactly 1 year ago today. A life-changing event that I am quite proud of because I caused it, and I can take credit, and I can take credit for it. And I think, you know, I can do that, right? I can be proud of some work I did, some success, and share that with you because you're directly involved. But exactly 1 year ago, approximately 10 days after monetizing this channel, so I spent about a year making videos where I wasn't making any money on this at all. And in about 6 months, the second 6 months of that year, I was putting out 2 bike videos per week. So videos just like this one where I rehab a bike. And that was a goal I set, and I'm still on that. I'm trying to do it for 2 years. So I have 6 months to go-ish. Something like that. About a half a year to go. Who knows? I might just keep it up because it's going so well. My plan with this channel the whole time was, okay, I think I've got a good niche here with the Bob Ross of Bikes thing, because I was such a fan of Bob Ross and a few other, primarily Jerry Rosa String Works. Go watch his back catalog if you want to watch a guy fix instruments. He talks a lot more than I do, but that's kind of my rants and the way I talk while I work. It's more like him than Bob Ross, I think. But after watching those guys, I knew that their shtick was one that I could do. But I knew that I wanted to have a bigger channel and I needed to break through somehow. And the way to break through on YouTube is with shorter 8-minute videos, 10-minute videos, and where you're just kind of like talking about something loud and crazy, flashy. And I know absolutely nothing about that, right? But I've always had this idea for a YouTube video explaining to the world why bicycle mechanics are such assholes. I think it's fascinating. It's a fascinating culture, like bike shops in general. Like I've always said that they're a safe place for misfits. You know, a lot of normal people, regular people, just general public, they go into a bike shop and they're like, oh, they treated me like shit or whatever. And I know from working at bike shops that behind your back, we're just talking about how terrible the customers are the whole time. So I made the video, why are bicycle mechanics such assholes? And you know, it's edgy, and YouTube likes edgy and controversy. And I was right. It was so wildly successful that I kind of became quasi-famous overnight in the bike world because every bike shop guy on the planet saw that video in the first couple days. It was so fun. And it propelled this channel. It legitimized it with the algorithm, which is, that video is a big reason why you're watching this today, I suspect. Whoever's watching out there. Without that video, you probably wouldn't know this exists. It got 100,000 views in the first week or first few days. I can't remember. It was just nuts. And the channel was monetized. You know, that's what it takes. Most creators spend their whole life trying to get a video to do that well. And it was like my first one that I really tried. First scripted video, went nuts. Now I've had one other one, the Your Bike Sucks video. I think I did that one next, actually, a month later or something like that. And it too was very successful, but not quite as insane in the beginning, but that one has actually surpassed the Assholes video. So the Your Bike Sucks video surpassed that. Now I've done a bunch of other ones, all my rant videos. I did some other ones that I think are way funnier and way smarter and was way more proud of. And I'm like, oh, these are gonna go crazy, but they don't, or they haven't. Some of them are pretty good. You know, those rant style videos still boost the channel. It finds new viewers. It's a different demographic or something. But that was exactly 1 year ago today. So I just trimmed that cable just a little bit. And so there's tiny little shards of cable all over the floor. That's okay. I'll just create a bunch of flat tires. It's good for business. Every single one of those is a $20 bill for me. And okay, I'm kidding. I'm kidding for all you very earnest people out there that feel the need to call me out for saying things like that. I've always thought I was kind of a funny guy. I've always had a really appreciated humor. All my wives have told me I'm funny. I've only had 2. You know, my mom says I'm funny. You know, so I must be. If my mom thinks I'm funny, she's funny. You know, my wife, Maggie, is hilarious. So making those videos is fun because it's almost like being a humorist, like writing jokes for, you know, it's like roast comedy, which I've always liked. I've always liked insult comics and roast comedy. Any comedy that really just like, you know, confronts absurdity head on and just exposes reality for truly how ridiculous it is. And I feel like my bike rant videos do that. They just really, I mean, some of it's just straight up unpopular opinion stuff, but a lot of it is just like, hey, this is just how the world is. If you can't make fun of it and laugh at yourself for getting weird about it and getting angry, or, you know, like, what are we really doing? You know, it doesn't matter. I don't really hate my customers. I don't really hate cyclists. I just make fun of them because it's all pretty ridiculous that, you know, people take it so seriously. I absolutely love the fact that I've found a creative outlet for this and that you're watching and that it provides me with some income, which takes the pressure off, like absolutely having to have a successful bike shop because I can just do it the right way. I can do it the way I want now. So thank you, everyone who's ever clicked in and watched and taken the time to subscribe or called me out in the comments, and hopefully it wasn't anything too insulting so I didn't have to block you. You know, if you just straight up attack me or my integrity, I'm just blocking you at this point. But, you know, feel free to say, hey, why didn't you do that or whatever. I probably won't answer you, but, you know, let me know. I love having you here. If you want to support me more, you know how to do it. There's the liking, there's the commenting, There's the subscribing, but the super thanks and the memberships are where it's at. That's money, and I'm in it for the money. And I do think that I have something to offer to people in terms of actually taking that leap of pursuing passions or dreams or trying something new and risky. I have tried and failed at business before, and it sucked. And I learned just enough to know that it's totally 1000% worth it. And there's no guaranteeing that you're gonna have that amazing job that you think is so important next week. You know, just like there's no guarantee that my YouTube income is gonna be here next week. So I hope that people understand that too. That's really something that I want people to know. I don't have any sponsors right now. I have, you know, like Park Tool and Efficient Velo Tools and a few others have given me products, and I've mentioned them on the channel, and I believe them. But I've told them all, you know, I'm like, I'm not gonna say good things about anything I don't think is good. So I'm not taking money from anybody to push anything on you guys at this point. Now, if you're not a YouTube premium subscriber yet, you're gonna have to sit through the ads. So the only way I can make money on this, aside from that stuff, is, you know, I'm not making big bucks off any sponsorships or anything like that. And I'd rather keep it viewer sponsored. So for anyone who's ever given out of the goodness of their own heart, you are the greatest. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Also, it's allowed me to start golfing again, which I'm doing a lot of. And I love it because I used to back when I had a real job and was out selling chemicals. One of the weirdest things about me is that I sold high purity toxic chemicals to industry for 6 years. I was like a territory rep and played a lot of golf and lived that world. And it was awesome. But it's what inspired me to go start I went and bought a business that ended up failing, and it's taken me like 10 years to rebuild from it. And this is the rebuilding. And I finally was able to get back to playing golf again, which is a game that I respect and love and adore so much. You've all made that possible. And I know it sounds like Andy just wants us to pay for his golf, which is pretty much true, but I've worked really hard and gone through a lot to get to this point, and I want the same for you. I mean, it's not like I'm, you know, trying to take advantage of anybody. I'm still working for it here. It's a good life. I'm not kidding. And I owe it to you guys. So thank you. I'm getting good at golf too, by the way. I fully expect to break par this week. I was 2 over on Friday, and I haven't. It's Sunday right now. I was gonna play today, but the weather's kind of crummy. I'm gonna go out tomorrow, and I think that even par is right around the corner. I think I can do it. Gotta keep my head on straight. It's so hard. All right, this bike is tuning up well. Oh, I forgot to check the shifting. It's gotta be good. I don't know how it couldn't be great on this bike. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. It's a Suntour XCD front derailleur. Works fine with the Shimano lever. Yeah, this bike is, I don't have to touch this. There is something knocking somewhere. Yeah, it's back there. It's a free hub thing. It's an artifact of a bike that's been sitting. It's just got a weird knocking sound. I don't know. Yeah, it's the free hub. There's not much we can do about that. I think the bike just needs to be ridden. that little bit of lube I squirted in there will work its way into the system. But it's not knocking anymore, but you can you can just hear how there's something just slightly askew, slightly amiss. And I can tell that the brakes want to howl. Got some emery cloth here. I get that from Frame Builder Supply. Maybe I can find some on Amazon and put it in the description. But the stuff from framebuildersupply.com, it's really good. It comes in a roll. Lasts forever. I'm sure you could just use sandpaper too, but you can see like took a lot of material off. That's old brake gunk and old rim. Can't remember, was it this video that I mentioned brake toe and about how I don't toe the brakes because they just wear flat eventually anyway, and if you toe the brakes they're squeaky, or not squeaky, they're squishy, and I like my brakes snappy, and so I don't toe them. I have them hit flat, and so I often get howling brakes and have to work through the problem this way, but I think it's a better way to do it than to just tow them. And towing doesn't always fix the problem either, so it's not a magic bullet, a silver bullet. Magic bullet was JFK. Silver bullet is Coors Light. Speaking of Coors, I think, well, first of all, Smokey and the Bandit was totally sponsored by Coors Beer. I mean, it was all about hauling Coors over state line, which I think is funny. Or a lot of the viewers of the channel know this, that I've been sober for 13 years now or something like that. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Coors Banquet was around 13 years ago when I was drinking. Now, I never had it, right? But I can tell by the friends that I know that enjoy it, and the way they talk about it, and the way it's marketed, that I would have loved the stuff. Yeah, I could feel that the headset was just a little loose. Okay. But now it's tight again. I don't know, this is not the right tool for the job. But maybe this bottom bracket, Hosan bottom bracket pliers. This is kind of a piss poor design in general. You know, you set this adjustable cup cone, really is what it is, and then you lock down that lock nut on it. Let's go this way though. Right? There's a proper way to use the pliers. All right, that's good. It's tight. Good enough for who it's for, at least. And I'd say that, oh, dropped a rag. I think that's the first op of the video. And I'd say that that is a completed bike. What do you think? You know, is it worth it or is it not? Am I the right guy to say, does my opinion matter? I don't think so. Leave it up to the customer. It's his bike. And frankly, it's great. You know, it was a great bike. Perfect college bike. You know, who cares? Nobody's gonna steal it, right? It's not terrible. It's just not a great one. And that reflector is loose. Hi, Ruby.
Yo, wait,
Kids are always bugging me.
Hey, YouTube. How you doing?
She's such a dork. Apparently there's some freshman high school drama or something. She's over there shaking her head, needing to tell me about something. So that's another thing I'm very grateful for, is I have children that'll tell me such things, and I love them so much. So again, send me a super thanks so I can go buy us tacos later. That's who I give tacos. And yeah, thanks again for clicking in. Ruby has distracted me, so I guess I guess she's like right on the other side of the camera now. It is a mess. For yourself, click that notification bell so you and your bikes can stay tuned.